India in total control of the game here on day 3 of the first test against Bangladesh in Chattogram. India's lead is now 394 and they are 140 for 1. Shubman Gill is nearing a century. The only casualty in this post-lunch session was KL Rahul, who was dismissed for a low score yet again. Now, I will come to Rahul's dismissal later, but now the current situation is that India will now be aiming to at least get to 450 in the first hour after the tea break. After that, they may probably insert Bangladesh in and hope for some quick wicket and wrap things up quickly on day 4. Nothing worked for Bangladesh. In fact, the field was so defensive that they had easy singles and twos up for grabs. India were just not bothered about whether the field was spread out or they were close in. They just went for the attack. And now, if you look at it, they have increased the scoring rate to close to 4 runs and over. Shubman Gill in particular, he tackled the short ball well. The Bangladeshi players were trying to bowl a negative line, but he tackled that as well. So, because of Shakib Al Hasan's injury, Bangladesh's bowling has been really hamstrung, and you saw the amount of work that Taijul Islam and Mehdi Hassan had to put in the first innings. Now, in the second innings, with hardly that much of a turnaround time, they are now starting to struggle. They lack penetration, they are lacking the attacking opportunities, and because Bangladesh has spread the field out so much, they are just not able to create chances. Now, if KL Rahul had to ensure that this was a situation that was tailor-made for him, he unfortunately did not capitalize on it. On 23, he top-edged a pull shot. This was one of the few deliveries that hurried on to KL Rahul. He top-edged the pull shot and he holed out to fine leg. Thus, in both the innings that you have to look at it, he played 2 rash shots. And that is why now he ends up with a total of only 45 runs in this entire match. Now, that will be a case of missed opportunity for KL Rahul because this was an ideal situation for him. No pressure. India just had to ensure that they got a lead of over 400, 450 by the tea break, which they have almost come close to now. And within the next hour, you may see a potential declaration by which Bangladesh will be under immense pressure. But KL Rahul with the bat, more than with the ball, with this captaincy, that will be a big issue because see, as captain, KL Rahul has done 8 out of the 10 things right so far in this match. The one thing that might possibly go against him is that his declaration. Why did he not declare? The one thing that we could have said is, okay, probably KL Rahul, the likes of Shubman Gill, the likes of Cheteshwar Pujara, they all wanted good runs. They all wanted runs under their belt so that they could be in confidence heading into the Mirpur tests and in the 4 tests against Australia. KL Rahul did not take the opportunity. Shubman Gill did. And because Shubman Gill did such a magnificent job, his position will be under immense scrutiny. Because look, we are getting reports now that Rohit Sharma will be added into the second test, and if he's medically cleared, he could play the Mirpur test as well. Who goes out in that case? KL Rahul or Shubman Gill? Because if Rohit comes back, he slots back into that opening position. And Virat Kohli, Cheteshwar Pujara, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, that will be the core of your batting. Will Rahul open with Rohit or will Shubman open with Rohit? That will be the major question that many people will ask. In all likelihood, if Shubman Gill hits a century, then the problem of plenty is only going to compound the Indian cricket team's woes even more. So at this point in time, if you have to look at it, it's a fantastic situation for Shubman Gill. If he gets dropped for the Mirpur test when Rohit Sharma comes back, it will be a magnificent... the debate will only deepen at this point in time. So that is the current situation that we have now. Shubman Gill is nearing a century, and maybe after he scores that century, India will declare and set Bangladesh up for almost close to 7.5 sessions. Because look, after this day, there will be 6 more sessions to be played. So 6.5 sessions, Bangladesh will have to bat out, or India will need 10 wickets. I think India needing 10 wickets is an easier task than Bangladesh batting out 6.5 sessions. So that is how I am looking at it. Pradeep Srivalsan is asking me, will be interesting to see Pant bat if a wicket falls. I think he might come to bat if Cheteshwar Pujara falls. Because see, I think India are setting a target somewhere close to 450. The game plan, the way I look at it, India bat for 1 hour in this session. After that, they insert the Bangladeshi players in, get a couple of wickets, and by day 4, potentially by the second session or by the first session, you wrap the game up because Bangladesh are lacking in confidence. And remember, Shakib is not bowling too much, which either suggests that he's carrying an injury or he's in risk of being injured for the Mirpur game as well. So it is a very, very problematic situation that Bangladesh are facing. Taijul and Mehdi are trying their level best. Ebadat and Khaled Ahmed are also trying, but they are just not able to get the purchase like what Mohammad Siraj, Kuldeep Yadav were getting from this wicket. So that is the problem that we are facing at this point in time, Pradeep. So even if Gill gets a daddy 100, Aditya Kavlekar is saying, Gill will be out as KL as vice captain and star player. Okay, Aditya, yeah, unfortunately it looks like Shuman Gill could get the axe if Rohit Sharma comes back into the scheme of things because KL Rahul is your vice captain, as you said. So that is why Gill, unfortunately, will have to make way if Rohit comes back for the Mirpur test. Abhinav, I guess Rahul can be dropped because even Rahane was dropped versus New Zealand for 2 tests when Kohli came back even after being captain in 1 test. Well, can happen, but will the Indian team management decide to drop KL Rahul after his performances in Mirpur? Because see, he has been, as captain, he's been spot on 8 out of 10 times. Only the declaration will be an issue of contention. But looking at the current situation now, I think the declaration thing could be eased off. I think, no, it's okay. KL Rahul has done what he needed. But with the bat, 2 failures on this particular kind of a deck, that is going to be a big, big problem. So Sarthak Sehgal is saying India should look more for getting batting form back rather than declaring early. But then Sarthak Sehgal, if that is that intent, won't the Indian cricket team be banned for being selfish? Because see, you want to win the test as ruthlessly as you want. If India go for getting batting form back, will they not be accused of being selfish and also having lack of intent? Because look, the main aim is to win the test match in a dominant fashion. If India take their own time and if they say declare on day 4 immediately, will that kind of ensure that India do not have the confidence and they do not have that killer instinct in them? That is the side effect to that situation. Rather than players coming back into form, you would want to win a test match in a very ruthless way. Rohit is coming next test match, Dhanu Shell is saying. So KL should be dropped, not Gill. Remember, vice captain Rahane was dropped in South Africa 2018 test series. Agreed. But are the team management willing to do that? That is a major question because Rohit, KL, Virat, Shreyas, Rishabh, that is going to be the potential batting lineup along with Pujara in that. So it's a very, very dicey situation. I just hope Shuman Gill does not get dropped because he is a class player. And we have seen, although he's not converted all his starts into a century, this is the right time now. After that 91 in Brisbane, he's been accused quite often that Shuman Gill has not been managed to convert the big scores. 91 is his highest, but he's not had a single century yet, which is very, very disappointing and maybe very, very surprising because Shuman Gill is really, really a class act altogether. Can you tell me what if Australia versus series ends in a draw? Thank you for taking all the questions. Akash Bharajwaj, pleasure. Okay. If the Australia versus South Africa series ends in a draw, 0-0 or 1-1, then Australia's passage is more or less guaranteed. South Africa, on the other hand, remember, they are going to play 2 tests. And based on those 2 tests that they have against the West Indies, if they win that 2-0, then India has to win the 4-match series against Australia 4-0. Then and only then India's chances increase. If not, if they lose 2 games rather, and South Africa are losing 0-3 against Australia, then other factors will come into play. So let me make the equation very clear for you all. If the Australia-South Africa series ends in a draw and South Africa beat West Indies 2-0, India will have to win all their 4 games against Australia. Even if it's a draw, they will be out of contention because the percentage points will not allow India to go past South Africa. That is the situation. So South Africa, their position is pretty good at this point in time. But this series will determine who are the finalists heading into the Oval. So remember, 4 points for a draw, 12 points for a win. That is the situation. So both teams getting 12 points each it does not dent their percentage points that much. So that is why. And when SA won in 2008, 12, 16, they had Smith, Amla, Callis, De Villiers, Duplessis, Dumini, Australia will hammer South Africa 3-0. Dhanushal, don't be so sure about that. See, under Dean Elgar, South Africa have managed to hold their own in test match cricket, although they lost the test series in England. But 3-0, this Australian team, unfortunately, has not managed to get the better of South Africa for close to a couple of years now. They have struggled in ODIs against them, they've struggled in tests against them. The recent baggage of history suggests that Australia could face a very, very tough task against the South Africans. Because look, ever since 2013, Australia have not won a single series against them in tests. In 2014 also, since 2014, they haven't even won an ODI series against them. So that is why it is going to be a very, very problematic situation for Australia. And remember, the flames of Sandpaper Gate are still very much burning. And that is an interesting subplot heading into the match on December 17th, which will begin at the Gabba. So it will be a very, Aditya Kavlekar, I agree with you. It is going to be a very even contest, evenly balanced. It's a good contest. South Africa versus Australia has always been a very tense encounter indeed. So, what is the other? Who are you cheering, Sarthak Saigal? I was asked this question in the morning. In the evening, it still does not change. I think it's Argentina for the FIFA World Cup title. And that's how it is. So, can we say Australia is already in final, but I think India can beat also 3-1? No. If Australia loses 3-0 to South Africa and they lose 4-0 to India, then Australia are out. So, no team is yet confirmed in the final as of now. If Australia win 3-0 against South Africa, they will seal their spot in the final, even if they lose 0-4 to India. So, that is the way this situation is. So, if Australia beats South Africa 3-0, Australia lose 0-4 to India, you will see India versus Australia in the World Test Championship final at the Oval on June 7th. That's how it is. So, there is no interest to watch game and there's no fight from Anil and India. There has been no fight. They've just given up. They spread the field out saying, okay, you want to hit out to us, hit out. But the Indians did not do that. So, yes, very disappointing display from Bangladesh indeed. So, unfortunate performers like Gill, Ishan, Sanju, make way KL and Pant. Unfortunately, GGK, in the case of Gill, yes. But in the case of Sanju and Ishan, look, you have to just see the Ranji Trophy situation at this point in time. Sanju hit 79, but Ishan, Kishan 132. Ishan has said, if you can do something good, I can do better. 4 fours and 7 sixes in the case of Sanju Samson, 9 fours and 8 sixes in the case of Ishan Kishan. So, Aditya Kavlekar, is there any truth regarding Messi's injury? Well, we have put out a video on Sports Today that Messi did not feature in the practice. Whatever shots we had, whatever things we had, he just did not feature. The speculation is that he's injured, but probably he's just taking it one day at a time. He's probably not injured. He's just biding his time to display his greatness. That's about it. So, we are about to begin the final session in a couple of minutes' time. Will they sit out Gill when Rohit comes back, King D? It looks like yes. Unfortunately, it looks like Shubman Gill could sit out if Rohit Sharma comes back. He is slated to fly back to Bangladesh and he is apparently going to be available for the Mirpur test, but only after medical advice he will be cleared whether he can participate in it or not. So, when can we see KL Rahul? It's high time, not performing in any format. Well, let's wait until the end of the series because see, KL Rahul is not going to be available for the Sri Lanka leg anyway. Whether he's picked for the New Zealand series after that, it remains to be seen. So, give KL Rahul Sunday. If he performs well in Mirpur, then what do you do then? So just give KL Rahul after the end of the series anyway. You have a gap of 8 days before the first T20I against Sri Lanka. I think he'll not play the Sri Lanka series. He's hopefully been picked for the New Zealand series. Let's see about that. But being honest, Akash Bharadwaj is saying 4-0 to Australia. It's not happening. Honest thoughts. Yeah. See, this Australian team, unlike the past teams of 2013, 14 and 16, they at least have one in Asia, one in Pakistan, one in Sri Lanka, although that Sri Lanka series ended in a draw. So, Australia do know now how to win in the subcontinent after 14 years of pain. So, let's see how this shapes up. Australia versus South Africa could determine the World Test Championship finalists. India versus Australia could be the preview before the final. So that is how this. Will there be watch along for World Cup final GGK? No, no, there's going to be no watch along. Enjoy it. We'll be there for all the updates that come from Doha as well as from here, because it will be a grand final. Messi versus Mbappe, Argentina versus France. And remember, Argentina hold a superior head-to-head advantage against them, 6-3. But the last encounter that they had, it was a 7-goal thriller with France winning 4-3. So it'll be a very, very interesting contest at this point in time. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Press the like, comment, and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.